Come on over here, Dan. Come on over to the locker room. I want you to meet, and I want everyone to meet, our next special guest. Say hello to Marcus Mariota, everyone. Yeah. Take a seat, Dan. A little surprise for you. Listen to it.
Is the surprise Marcus is going to come play for me for a year?
Now that would be a story. Marcus, welcome to Philadelphia.
Thank you for having me.
Will this be the last time we say that?
We'll see, we'll see.
Now, you've been obviously besieged by media here all day. Have they been calling your hotel room, trying to stake out the airport? You know, there's been a lot of talk about you still finding your way to Philadelphia.
No, everyone's been great, and the hospitality's been amazing.
Have you ever had a chance to talk with your old coach, the guy that's coaching Kelly Green, Chip? Has he talked to you much in this offseason?
A little bit.
And what's he said?
He's just been checking in and seeing how this whole process has been going for me.
Well, you know, the offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles is a guy named Pat Shermer. Have you ever met him?
Yeah, he's here tonight.
He's right over there. Sitting right there, Pat Shermer. And I'd be interested to be a fly on the wall a little bit later on in this evening. And I noticed you're wearing a green tie, but that's an Oregon tie. Now, here's what I wanted to ask you, Coach. You've watched him. Your guy Prescott plays a hell of a spread offense as well. And there's a lot of talk that Marcus is a system quarterback, and that doesn't translate to anywhere in the NFL unless he plays for the Eagles. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I'll tell you what. If he is a system quarterback, he runs his system unbelievably well. But, you know, the one thing in getting to meet Marcus at a couple different events, get to spend time with him, that people don't understand, and when I've seen him, is what an unbelievable character he has. And one thing you want in a quarterback is a guy that's going to stand there in front of your team, lead your organization, that has unbelievable character, unbelievable work ethic. And when you watch Marcus and you watch him perform, that's what he has. And if you take a leader like that, I don't care what system you run, you take a guy that has tremendous character, work ethic, and you put him in that organization, he's going to run that system to the highest of levels.
Well, there you go.
Thank you.
That's a nice endorsement. Marcus, you know, typical of that character, you had a pro workout day in Oregon less than 24 hours ago, and yet you got on a plane, you came all the way here. We thank you for that. You'll be honored a little bit later in our show. And thanks for joining us on the stage tonight.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Marcus Mariota, it's good to have you, Dan Mullen. Let's go back to Susie at the podium right now.
Marcus doesn't know it yet, but we're going to be spending a lot of time together because I have the opportunity to interview the top draft choices when they arrive in the draft city, this year Chicago, when he arrives on the red carpet, when he gets to the green room, and then after he's picked, which is one of the most fun things I get to do, that life-changing moment. And, you know, and I'm just wondering here, is there a preference to where he goes in this room? Thought so. Our next award is named after the legendary Chuck Bednarik. For those of you not familiar, Chuck was a two-way All-American for the then nationally ranked University of Pennsylvania Quakers, but only after serving in a B-24 bomber as a gunner flying 30 missions over Nazi Germany during World War II. Bednarik would then lead the Philadelphia Eagles to their most recent title, 1960. Again, going all 60 minutes at center, middle linebacker, and tackling Green Bay Packer fullback Jim Taylor just outside the goal line to seal it. The Maxwell Football Club's Bednarik Award goes to the College Defender of the Year, and here to present this year's winner is another college football and NFL great, Matt Millen.
I heard that E-A-G-L-E-S. Thought we were back in 1980 and I'm wearing my Super Bowl ring, so we'll talk about that later. Now we're talking. That's the Philadelphia that I know and love. Speaking about Philadelphia, Chuck Bednarik. The annual Chuck Bednarik Award is given to the best defender in all of college football. And if you know Chuck, and I've known Chuck for going on 40 years, you know Chuck, you know what he is. He's got toughness, number one. He's got intensity, and he's got heart. And if you notice, all three of those things are things you can't really measure. But he had them in spades. He played tough. He played to a Hall of Fame career. Well, the recipient of his award tonight embodies all those things. And really, if you know Scooby right, this is a guy who's kind of overlooked, but you can't overlook the toughness. You can't overlook the intensity that he has, and you can't overlook the heart, and you can't measure it. And those are the three things that, as just a sophomore, earned him all kinds of All-American awards. And tonight, Scooby Wright walks away with the Chuck Bednarik Award. A lot of things you can't measure, but you can measure him, because that kid's got it, and he'll have it for another couple years. Scooby Wright.
There are many in sports forever fueled by their doubters. Even after 4 Super Bowls, Tom Brady still feels slighted. In the case of Arizona super linebacker Scooby Wright, it was just 2 years ago that no one, not one college football coach, had offered him a scholarship, until the University of Arizona called at the very last minute.
He'll roll out, hard rush, dragged in and hit hard, Scooby Wright.
Smart move. In this, just his sophomore season, Scooby proved the Wildcats right, and the rest very wrong. With 97 total tackles and an eye-popping 28 of them for losses.
Drop for loss.
There was a sack and a strip and a touchdown against Arizona State. And there was a game-ending sack of Marcus Mariota that completed the Wildcats' upset of Oregon.
Escape, and they are well aware of his propensity for carrying the ball loosely. Scooby Wright has the football.
This hit reminded all those who missed on him that he is the right choice as the 2014 Chuck Bednarik Award winner as college football's best on defense, Phil Scooby Wright.
So first and foremost, I'd just like to say thank you to the Maxwell Football Club for having me have this great honor. It's very humbling to be in this fraternity of this group of players, Hall of Famers, Pro Bowlers, and so on and so on. But football is, as you heard today, football is the ultimate team sport, and I can't do it without my teammates who have put in just as much of the work as I have, and this means so much to me. I'm just a reflection of the University of Arizona football program. And then from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank my coaches, family and friends, especially my mom and dad, and my grandparents, and most of all my SID, who's put in a lot of work for me the past couple months. But I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. God bless. Bear down.
Just days after our taping, the great Chuck Bednarik passed away at the age of 89. A member of both the college and NFL Halls of Fame, some consider him the greatest Philadelphia Eagle of all time. His memory will live on forever with the Maxwell Football Club.
From Temple University, where he rewrote the record book at running back before a long and great pro career with the Kansas City Chiefs and more. To present our NFL Coach of the Year award, Paul Palmer.
Tonight I'm honored, very honored and humbled to give this award to my head coach from Temple University, Bruce Arians. You know, people have called me since he started doing what he was doing. They started asking me, you know, why is he such a good coach? Why is he such a good coach? And I believe the reason why Bruce Arians is such a good coach is his belief. It's his belief in himself, his belief in the people around him, his belief in his family, his wonderful wife. I absolutely love you to death, and you know I do. But people around him believe in him. His own belief helped him with his bout with cancer. His own belief helped people like Manning, Luck, Roethlisberger. His belief also inspired a 165-pound tailback from Potomac, Maryland, with one scholarship offer. One scholarship offer, and he inspired me with his belief. He made me believe that I could play college football. He said to me one day at practice, I'm out there and I would fumble the ball. And the ball would roll downfield, honest to God, like 20, 25, 30 yards, end over end, just roll downfield. And he said, son, he said, if you can hold on to the ball, and I'm kind of editing a few words, he said, son, if you can hold on to the ball, you can be the greatest football player that ever played at this school. Now, he may have been blowing smoke up my behind, and he may have just simply tried to get me not to fumble the ball, but I tell you what, I believed it. I believed it, and some people even believe that I may be the best player to play football at Temple University. So this is why the Arizona Cardinals are in great hands, great hands. So here we go. Let's take a look at a little bit of footage.
His playing days took him from William Penn High School in York, Pennsylvania, to Blacksburg, Virginia, and Virginia Tech, where he began to coach after graduation. Bruce Arians and his family truckster have been crisscrossing the U.S. like Clark Griswold on vacation ever since. And Arians looked like he might be ready for a full-time vacation at age 60. But then Chuck Pagano called and asked him to come to Indy as an offensive coordinator for all of 4 games. Pagano, a Maxwell winner himself, would battle leukemia and turn the team over to Arians, who had some luck on his side and led the Colts to the playoffs. Now Arians wears cardinal red wherever he goes, including Atlantic City, honored as the NFL Coach of the Year for his work in Arizona, where he won 11 games this past year, even after losing his top quarterbacks. And now that he's a head coach on his own, he won't waste a single minute of the opportunity.
I've actually watched about 15 games on the plane ride over from Arizona on our iPads.
Bruce Arians' deep background on both sides of the ball helped guide the Cards to the playoffs, winning 11 out of 16. And this, the Maxwell Football Club's Greasy Neal Award as the NFL Coach of the Year, Bruce Arians.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a journey, but I can't thank the Maxwell Club enough. Back in 1983, I attended my first banquet. It was gotten a little bit bigger and better, Jaws. Great job. And I was in awe sitting back in the green room that night. Steve Van Buren, God bless him, Chuck Bednarik, Tommy Brookshire, Artie Donovan. I was this young kid, just, oh my God, this is unbelievable. And to be on this side is truly a dream come true. I wouldn't even stand here today if it wasn't for this girl right here. My wife, Christine, we got married at 18, a long time ago. And she has traveled many, many, many miles with me. And I wouldn't be standing here without her and my lovely children. I thank her so much for being the inspiration. But this football team we had this year was one that I couldn't say that I've had any that I was more proud of, because we lost 109 games to our starters through injuries, but our guys showed up for work every Monday, knowing that this guy is down, this quarterback's down, this guy's down. But they believed in each other. And as a coach, that's your job. Get them a game plan that they can believe in and go out and perform on Sunday. And I've never been prouder of a group of men than I have this past year of the Arizona Cardinals. It was truly a team effort. I'd be crazy if I didn't thank Michael Bidwell for hiring a 60-year-old guy to be his head coach. And Steve Keim, who's also a Central Pennsylvania guy, our general manager. But it all goes back because 3 years ago I was out of football. I was refired from Pittsburgh, you know, and it all goes back to that phone call from Chuck. And I thank him every day for giving me that opportunity to get back into business. And it's been a dream ride ever since. And to take that journey with him through that year in Indianapolis and watch him fight. And we've talked a lot about fighting tonight and what he did to beat his disease. It didn't happen without football. I promise you, football was the medicine that saved Chuck Pagano. And he'd be the first one to tell you, keeping him involved every single day with his iPad and everything else. it wasn't about winning games that year. It was all about just getting him healthy and getting him back on the field. For the Arizona Cardinals organization, I humbly accept this award and thank the Maxwell Club very much.
Back in the locker room with Jim Kelly. And Jim, you know, it's one of the great things when we get together for the Maxwell Football Club, the fraternity. For 2 days, we spend time together and we talk football amongst ourselves. And like you just said, that's a story you didn't even know about Bruce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about all the things that different people go through, and you look back at their whole career and seeing him, I didn't know that he was out of football. I mean, I always thought the great Bruce Arians, that he was going to be, you know, he's been around forever, but he's done a heck of a job.
Jimmy, it was a wonderful, heartfelt speech that I know everyone in the audience and watching on television all across America truly appreciated. I wonder, what are you doing now? Are you actively speaking, inspiring?
I try to, as much as I can. We started our foundation called Hunter's Hope, to make sure that we do make a difference. When my son Hunter was born on my birthday, the state of New York was only tested for 11 diseases, and when we found out that Mississippi, you know, was at 45, Illinois at 54, when we found out that thousands of babies are dying all over the country because they're born in the wrong state, my wife and I decided we need to fight this, and we've made a difference, and we will continue to make a difference until every state tests for the maximum amount of treatable diseases and give these kids a chance to dream like I was able to do as a little boy.
I got to say, what you've been through seems a living hell. And yet I see inspiration and energy in you that just radiates off you right now.
Well, you know what? I came from a family that had a great mother and father that had great values, and they always told us if we wanted something, we had to work at it. And I had 5 brothers that pushed me along the way, never jealous one time. I have a beautiful wife and 2 daughters at home that continue to inspire me to keep fighting. And you know, I'm a Kelly. I grew up in a family of 6 boys. Like I said, we fought every day. We had a good time, but at the end of the day, we wanted to be good enough to take care of the 2 people we love, and that was my mom and my dad. And we looked up to them. When they talk about role models, my first role model was my father. And from that point on, I knew that I wanted to be successful, not because of myself, because I wanted to make my mom and dad proud.
Jim, thanks very much. Thanks very much. And by the way, here in Philadelphia and all across the country, we're all talking about this Chip Kelly innovative fast offense. Who remembers that with 4 straight trips to the Super Bowl, this guy, Andre Reed, Don Beebe, no huddle, very fast offense. Thank you, Jimmy.
How soon they forget.
How soon they forget.
Ahead, Lou Holtz fires him up and leaves him in laughs.
I said, Steve, if you got in a race with a pregnant mother, the best you'd finish would be 3rd.
It's the Maxwells.
And I am so honored to present the Maxwell Club's NFL Player of the Year. How many players do you know that before they even get to the NFL have their own charitable organization? When I first met J.J. Watt, before he was drafted in 2011, he told me about his charitable organization and the mantra, dream big, work hard, and he gave me this bracelet that I always wore whenever I was going to be talking about J.J. or seeing him or interviewing him. When J.J. was at the University of Wisconsin, he realized that other kids didn't have access to after-school programs that he was afforded. And it was then that he decided that he wanted to do something about it. The Justin J. Watt Foundation was born, its mission to provide after-school athletic opportunities, safe and structured and full of life's lessons. So then once JJ was a Texan, it was his rookie season, and I interviewed him on the sideline of a preseason game, but the focus of the interview wasn't on football. He was trying to raise funds for the Berry kids. Just about 6 weeks before that game, the Berry family were on their way back from a family vacation. They were in a tragic car accident. Both parents were killed. The 2 little boys were both paralyzed below the waist, and their little sister had multiple broken bones. 13 days after the accident, JJ was in the hospital room with them, just to be there for support and love, and he's been a part of their family ever since. The oldest son, Peter, wrote about JJ for a class assignment. It was about someone who had influenced him the most. He wrote, JJ teaches you to never give up, that no matter how famous or wealthy you are, everybody is equal. Peter went on to say, I always wear his bracelet that says, dream big, work hard. He's the best defensive player in the NFL because he never gives up. Peter wrote, I agree, you should always work hard. Hard work is why J.J. Watt is the Maxwell Club's NFL Player of the Year. The award is named after Burt Bell, one of the founding fathers of the NFL, and Watt is everything an NFL player should be. So even in the era of offense dominates the NFL, the voting members of the Maxwell Club chose a defensive player, although Watt was pretty good on offense this year too. As we all know, JJ is very good at everything.
In this era of photoshopped pictures and doctored videos, you might not believe what you see. But this, and this, is very real.
Yeah, baby!
Watt's roar was more than lip service. In the season past, he registered 20-plus sacks for the second season in a row, an NFL first.
He's a game changer, and you don't necessarily see that from his position very often, and I think that's what makes him unique. He's a guy that you literally have to game plan for every single play.
You have to have a game plan for J.J. Watt, or he's going to just destroy the game. And we had some success against the Texans, not a lot against J.J. Watt.
When they tried the quick pass to get around him, he turned into A.J. Swat.
He has great vision to the quarterback to see where he's looking, to get his hands up and bat balls. He don't just bat him, he catches them and runs them back for touchdowns.
You want the best steak? So delicious! Pick up H-E-B Prime 1 Steaks and Burgers.
JJ also has the personality that matches his athletic talent. Watt is all over the television and all over the Houston area in the community. It adds up to a very, very special person. And the Maxwell Football Club's Burt Bell Award as the Pro Football Player of the Year, J.J. Watt.
But JJ doesn't achieve Superman status by taking the off-season off. Probably has one of the most rigorous off-season training regimens. So that's where he is tonight, at his alma mater, the University of Wisconsin. But earlier today, he sent us this message.
I want to say thank you so much to the Maxwell Awards tonight. I wish so badly that I could be there. The schedule, unfortunately, didn't line up. But it's such an honor and a privilege to accept the Burt Bell Award. I know it's a 56-year-old award, and I realize that I'm only the 4th defensive player to ever have the honor of winning it. So it means so much to me, and I'm so fortunate. I want to say thank you to Ron Jaworski for setting everything up and for everything that he's done for the award. I would like to congratulate all of the other award winners tonight. You guys are unbelievable. It's fun to watch you play, fun to watch you coach, fun to watch your effect on the game. I'm so fortunate. I'm so thankful to my teammates, to my coaches, to everybody who's ever helped make this possible. It's truly been a great run. So thank you guys so much for this award. I'm truly honored and very humbled. I respect the history and tradition so much, so that's why this means a lot. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
The morning of the Maxwell saw a full-scale press conference held on this Trop stage. And with the wild NFL free agent season underway, hundreds were on hand. The morning also marked the announcement of a new award for Maxwell beginning in 2016, the Vices Innovation in Football Safety Award. Dave Marver made the announcement that hits the mark with the Maxwell mission.
The Maxwell Club's founding mission in 1935 was actually to promote player safety, and our mission is to protect the athlete and elevate the game. So we align perfectly with the Maxwell Club and their rich heritage.
Well, Vices is not a sporting goods company. I would characterize it as a technology company. It's powered by scientists and engineers and neurosurgeons, all of whom have come together to solve this important public health issue. There are a lot of people focused on measuring impacts or measuring concussion, but very few folks are working on building a better helmet. And that's where we're focused, prevention rather than sensing or monitoring. We were very fortunate to win a grant under the NFL Head Health Challenge 2 program. The NFL partnered with GE and Under Armour on that, and there were over 500 applicants from 19 countries and 4 rounds of scientific reviews. It was very rigorous, and winning that was validating for us. It showed us that we were on the right track. Today's helmets do what they were asked to do, and that's prevent skull fracture. There hasn't been skull fracture in the football, at least at the professional ranks, in decades. And so it's only recently that the helmet manufacturers have been asked to also protect against traumatic brain injury or concussion. And sometimes in industry, you know, it can kind of move along and become inert or sluggish, and it takes a startup, or it takes a group of people with brand new thinking to really change. And that's what we're doing with Vices. You can learn more by visiting our website, which is vices.co.co, or you can follow us on any of the major social media channels where our handle is Vices Pro, V-I-C-I-S Pro. I should mention we're in stealth mode, so there isn't a lot of information out there, but we'll be unveiling more and more as the year progresses.
Ahead, Jaws takes a bite out of Hugh Green and hands off to the newest Maxwell winner and gets set for Holtz. It's the Maxwells.
And now, once again, the president of the Maxwell Club, my lifelong friend, Ron Jaworski, along with the 1980 winner of the Maxwell Award from the University of Pittsburgh, Hugh Green.
Thank you, Susie. Get over here, Hugh. You're always chasing the ladies. I can't get you away from me. You all right?
I'm fine.
All right.
Now.
All right. Hey, we all know this is the 78th Maxwell Football Club's awards dinner. Now a gala, a national awards gala. And for 78 years, we've been honoring the Collegiate Player of the Year in honor of Tiny Maxwell, who founded the Maxwell Football Club. And you know, most of the time, us quarterbacks win the award. You know that, right?
I was told. They told. I was told.
Wait a minute. Look, there's Roger Staubach over there. There's Andrew Luck over there. So most of the time, quarterbacks win this award.
Select years.
Oh, you won it. I forgot. Oh, I forgot. All right. You won it back in 1980. A couple of years ago, Manti Te'o from Notre Dame won the award. So every once in a while, we vote in a defensive player. But we're back to quarterbacks this year. And we can talk about X's and O's all we want. We've all watched Oregon and their dynamic offense. I mean, a high-scoring machine, record-setting offense. And the winner of the Maxwell Award as a Collegiate Player of the Year certainly is deserving of this award, Marcus Mariota. But what separates Marcus, as we've heard all night long, is the character that he embodies. And last night, he flew in here at 3:45. He had his pro day in Eugene, Oregon. Now, I got to be honest with you. I'm not sure how many guys, after their pro day of trying to show off their skills to head coaches and general managers and personnel directors, would get on that plane and honor their commitment. We know he's going to be a great pro in the National Football League, and the Maxwell Football Club is honored to present the Maxwell Award to Marcus Mariota. Let's look at the tape.
How sure was Oregon about Marcus Mariota? Well, they offered him a scholarship before he had even started his first game in high school. High school was on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. But upon hitting the mainland, there was a fast track to fame in the Ducks' fast track attack. As the first freshman to ever start a season there, Mariota led Oregon to a 12-1 record and a number 2 ranking with 32 touchdowns to just 6 picks and a 69% completion rate to go with 752 yards rushing. And then he got the hang of it. As a sophomore, he would continue a record string with 353 passes without an interception. Starting in all 13 games, he completed 245 of 386 passes for 3,600 yards and 31 touchdowns, and rushed for another 715, and became the only player in Oregon history to eclipse 4,000 yards in a season. And then came the year just complete, with all the hyperlinked sports world focusing all expectations on him. Mariota led the Ducks on a near-flawless run, capping every single statistical mark in his magnificent career. 445 passes attempted, 304 completed. 68% for 42 touchdowns and just 4 interceptions. And still, 770 yards rushing, 15 of those carries across the goal line. That would be capped with a trip to the national championship game and a clean sweep of the postseason awards, and now including the 2014 Maxwell Award as college football's most outstanding player, Marcus Mariota.
This has been a roller coaster for me for the last couple months, but this has been an incredible blessing to be here today. Thank you, Ron, and the Maxwell Club for allowing my family to be here as well. This entire experience has been a humbling one. To be able to build relationships with all these great people here today has been an awesome deal. So I'm truly grateful for everything that's been able to happen. And honestly, I wouldn't be standing here today without the support of the University of Oregon as well as my teammates. I wish they could all be standing here with me today because those were the people that really got me here today. Again, I just want to say thank you and have a wonderful night. God bless.
Still to come, our keynote speaker.
Is it the way you run the routes or read the coverages? I said, no, when you get to 6, you ain't playing anymore.
It's the Maxwells.
This is a special year for the Maxwell Football Club, not only because of the great athletes that we've honored here this evening, but we actually are giving out 2 Reds Bagnell Awards. Reds Bagnell was about leadership. He was a great leader of the club and a great leader of men, a great leader in business, a great leader in any position that he was in. When you think of leadership, and probably when you look in a dictionary and look up the word leadership, you will see the name of Lou Holtz. He is a leader of men. He is a funny guy, believe it or not. He's a magician, he's a motivator, and he's a coach. And what a combination that is. So when he decides to move on with his life after coaching, where else do you go? To the worldwide leader. You go to ESPN. And I had the pleasure almost every weekend to kind of sneak into the studio on Saturday when he's arguing about college football, and I come in and talk pro football. And I've learned an awful lot from this man, not only about coaching, but about life. And that's a lot more important than winning and losing football games, winning in the game of life. And Lou Holtz has taught me a lot about winning. Our Reds Bagnell Award winner, Lou Holtz.
After 20 years of entertaining us with homespun humor and deep knowledge on TV, some may forget about the 33 years he spent on the sidelines and in the headlines. From his start at the College of William & Mary, Lou Holtz coached teams hit the national rankings at North Carolina State and contended immediately for a national championship at Arkansas. Holtz was on his way to doing the same at Minnesota when a phone call came from South Bend, Indiana.
2 teams, 2 eras are about to clash. Number 1 Miami plays number 4 Notre Dame.
In just his 3rd year of leading the Fighting Irish, they put an undefeated record on the line against the dominant team of the decade in the 80s, the U of Miami. And before the showdown got underway, the 2 teams were throwing down. And in the Irish locker room, so did their coach.
Now, after we win the game, if Miami wants to fight, fine, we'll meet them in the alley. And I didn't plan to say this, but it just came out. And if they do, you say Jimmy Johnson's asked for me.
Notre Dame went on to win a thriller and to win the national championship. The honoree of the Reds Bagnell Award for Lifetime Achievement in Football, Lou Holtz.
Thank you. I really feel honored here to be able to share this award with an individual I respect as much as Lee Steinberg. I understand 10% of you won't remember 10% of what is said 10 minutes after I said it. But for the next 6 minutes, I just want to share some thoughts and ideas. You have so many great athletes up here that are recognized for what they did. But when you recognize a coach, it's usually because of what other people did. So I'm here because I had great athletes like Sean Wooten and Ricky Waters, the list goes on and on. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say, if if you really want some great advice, listen to your spouse. There's nobody knows you any better, loves you any more, wants to see you succeed anymore, be any more honest with you. And I remember the sign that said behind every successful person stands a very surprised mother-in-law. And that's true, but I also want to say my wife is my very best friend. We've been married 53 years. I'm sorry she couldn't be here, but I owe her so much. And I got to tell you, listen to your spouse. I remember being on the golf course. I said, yeah, 50 years to my best friend. He said, your wife's not your best friend, your dog is. I said, you're wrong. My wife is. He said, well, try this. Lock your wife and your dog in the trunk of the car, come back in 2 hours and see which one's happy to see you. So maybe it is the dog, but, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I was born in the Depression. My dad had only gone to the 3rd grade. I was born in a cellar, not in a hospital. We had 1 bedroom for my sister, myself, and my parents. A kitchen, a half bath, where we lived for 7.5 years. There was no welfare, there was no food stamps, there was no safety net. The reason I say I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, I was born in this country. And I was taught by my parents to make good choices, be held accountable for the choice I make. Whatever happens in my life will be because of what I did, and not because of what other people did. But I also was born with a silver spoon in my mouth because I was born in a country that had the opportunity to be involved in football. Football has been involved in my life, and I've been so blessed in so many places. Even go back here, I was looking at that picture at William Mary, where we had more Marys than Williams, but it was still a wonderful experience. You know, the one thing that I'd always say to our football team, if you didn't show up, who would miss you and why? If you didn't go home, would anybody miss you? And if they did, why? If you didn't go to work, would anybody miss you? And if they did, why? One thing's obvious, ladies and gentlemen. Had Ron Jaworski not showed up, the Maxwell Club would have missed him, and now many athletes, such as myself, would miss the wonderful things that the Maxwell Club has done for athletes and for football in general. Football is the greatest sport in the world. I learned far more on the football field than I ever learned in a college classroom. I wasn't a great athlete, but I learned to love, because it's a lot like life. I never felt I taught football. I felt I taught life. I had a young man when I went to Notre Dame, and every story I tell you is absolutely true. A young man by the name of Steve Berline. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I try to keep life simple. Remember this, there are only 5 colors of the rainbow, but look what Michelangelo did with them. There's only 7 musical notes. Look what Beethoven did with them. There's only 10 numbers. Look what Bernie Madoff did with those 10 numbers. But I try to keep it simple. And I go to there, Steve Berline's a 3-year starter. He played in the NFL for 15 years, owned all the passing records. And I sat down with Steve the first week I was there, and this is how Steve remembers that conversation. I said, Steve, you own all the passing records. That's wonderful. And I like a running quarterback, and you aren't very fast. He interrupted me. And he said, Coach, how slow do you think I am? I said, Steve, if you got in a race with a pregnant mother, the best you'd finish would be 3rd. But I said, son, that's not what bothers me. What bothers me, you threw 17 interceptions as a junior. I said, son, I make this commitment till your senior year, you will not throw 7. He got all excited, said, that's great, Coach. Is it the way you run the routes or read the coverages? I said, no, when you get to 6, you ain't playing anymore. It's not complicated. I got on TV one time, called it University of Auburn. Well, the next week I had to get on and apologize on national television. I said, last week I called it University of Auburn. Many of you wrote and told me it's Auburn University. I'm a quick learner. I won't make the mistake again, so please don't write me anymore. Many of you wrote. And I then turned to Reese Davis while we're still on camera, and I said, I had no idea that many people from Auburn could write. Well, you want to talk about some nasty letters coming in. But also, sometimes you aren't always truthful. I'm on TV, and Mark Bay said something about my golf game. I said, I want you to know, Mark, I'm the best golfer at Lake Nona. Now, at Lake Nona, we have some pros named Graham McDowell, Henry Stinson, Leon Poulter, Justin Rose. And I get back the next day, and everybody's giving me static. And I said, let me tell you something. 300 people in this club know I lied. 300 million people think I'm a hell of a golfer. I said I like those odds. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, I think life is nothing more than making good choices. You know, there are a lot of things in this world I don't understand. I don't understand how a black cow produces green milk and yellow cheese. I don't understand why they sell hot dogs in packages of 8 and hot dog buns in packages of 6. Makes no sense. I don't understand why all bachelors are not wealthy. I don't understand why a kamikaze pilot wore a helmet. You know, these are just things that I don't understand. But I really don't understand why other people tell other people about their problems. Let me tell you, don't tell people about your problems. 90% don't care, and the other 10% are glad you got them. So you're better off to keep them yourself. But as I say, life's nothing more than making good choices. And I only had 3 rules for our team. I never felt I taught football. I taught life by having 3 rules. You know, we have federal laws, county laws, state laws, corporate laws, bylaws, in-laws, and outlaws. I only had 3 laws, never needed a 4th law. First law is do what's right. Do what's right and avoid what's wrong. If you have any doubt, get out the Bible. I don't think it's right to find a teammate's wallet before he lost it. See, that's called stealing, son, so just do what's right in your heart. Rule number 2, do everything to the very best of your ability. See, not everybody can be All-American, not everybody can be first team, but everybody can be the best they can be. Rule number 3 is show people you genuinely care. Ladies and gentlemen, my wife and I are different as night and day. She said opposites attract and then attack. And she left me a note not long ago and said, Lou, I can't please everybody in the world, so I'm going to stop trying. I'm going to focus on pleasing one person a day. And today's not your day, and tomorrow doesn't look real promising either. So, but she's given 1 interview in her entire life, and that's because of cancer. See, my wife had squamous cell carcinoma of the throat. Stage 4, they gave her 10% chance to live. Her weight went from 128 to 88. And I'm happy to report now she's doing very well. That was 14 years ago. She's defied all odds. Matter of fact, I got to tell you, I don't even pray for her anymore. I pray to her. She's a saint. But she did 1 interview, and they asked her what she learned from having cancer. And I'll never forget, she said, I learned how much my family loved me. Ladies and gentlemen, we didn't love her anymore. We just showed it. So let's take the opportunity to let people know we genuinely care before it's too late. I feel flattered and honored to be here with so many great athletes, but I also realize there are so many people in my life that I need to call and say thank you for everything you've done. My wife said, how can you talk about caring about people when you have the bumper sticker on your golf cart? You do. I have a bumper sticker on my golf cart because we have a lot of people with a false handicap at our club. And the bumper sticker said, Jesus loves you. Everybody else thinks you're an asshole. But I close. See, ladies and gentlemen, I think everybody needs 4 things in your life. Everybody needs something to do, someone to love, someone to believe in, and something to hope for. And I think having dreams and hopes and ambitions, that's what's so great about the Maxwell Football Club. You honor football players of all dimensions from all different areas. I can't think of any organization that has on a better first-class atmosphere than what I've witnessed here. So I really appreciate to be here, and I leave you with this very last thought. If you want to be happy for an hour, eat a steak. You want to be happy for a day? Play golf. You want to be happy for a week? Go on a cruise. Now to me, cruise is like being in jail, except you have a chance to drown, but if that's what you want to do, it's up to you. You want to be happy for a month? Buy a new car. You want to be happy for a year? Win the lottery. You want to be happy for a lifetime? Make sure you add value to other people's lives. The Maxwell Club has certainly added value to our life tonight. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Susie, it's been an amazing night here. And Lou certainly put a bow tie on it for all of us, right?
It's always fun, and this night never fails to inspire. We're coming off a week where numbers dominated the headlines, and the first day of free agency was the wildest in its history. And everybody talks about contracts, and a night like tonight brings everybody back down to earth and why you really play the game and what it's really all about.
So many people to thank tonight, so much to be appreciative of when it comes to football and how it's meant and what it's meant to our lives. I want to say thank you on behalf of all the Maxwell Football Club for the impact that you've had on the game of football and for giving your time to the Maxwell Football Club.
I appreciate that very much. And one other note, because Chip Kelly has been in the headlines quite a bit, but I'm just hoping that Eagles fans know where he was today. He was at the funeral service of fallen officer Robert Wilson III. He went to pay his respects and also to deliver some footballs to his son. He's a good guy.
Nice bow tie on the whole evening. For all of us at the Maxwell Football Club, thank you for joining us from the Trop Hotel and Casino Showroom for the 78th Annual Maxwell Football Awards. I'm Lou Tilley. See you again next year.
I thought the show had really good tempo and a great message, as it always does. And then, of course, Lou Holtz put a perfect seal on the whole thing and stole the show.
I'm just enjoying this moment, meeting so many great people and just enjoying the hospitality.
There's so much energy in the room. As I look around and I see a Jim Kelly, a Merrill Hodge, a Sharif Floyd, and the list goes on and on and on.
Seeing the football community come together, it's a wonderful thing.
All the great football legends, just even for me to be in and you're looking around at all the legends in the room, it's just a surreal feeling.
I am overwhelmed by the turnout, the first-class event, the organization, the hospitality of the people. I had no idea it was this big.
It's one of the best clubs in the world. This is impressive.